It's been a long time coming, and
cool.
So
I'm excited.
We'll dig into this.
All right, I'm excited, man. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, dude. Thanks for reaching out and having me.
Dude, it's awesome. It's gonna be fun. All right, I'm gonna start recording. 3, 2, 1. Ready? Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Blacktop Banter, and this is what I believe to be episode 46. I'm a little bit behind on posting them because I've been recording more than I've been posting the podcast. But 46, we're closing in on 50. Seems like just yesterday it was 45. Oh wait, it was just yesterday I recorded episode 45. Okay, and this is going to be a fun one. Clubhouse has been a crazy thing for me. It's been great for me to take part and listen into a lot of conversations. And then, of course, everyone knows I love to talk. So it's been great for me to host some of the conversations. And we do have a Blacktop Banter group that meets every Thursday, 7 p.m. At least we have so far. That might change as the season gets going and everything. But a familiar face that started to show up in the crowd and then I invited to speak is our guest tonight, and that's Steve Flaherty. Steve, we had some topics that covered the asphalt industry, mainly contractors. And the very first time Steve spoke, he mentioned something that was just out of left field. And, you know, he said, this is kind of why I'm in this group, because I want to know your guys' perspective. Steve, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you guys are, and what you do.
Sure. Yeah, no, thanks for having us. So my name's Steve Flaherty. I'm founder and CEO at Nicotech. We are a sustainable infrastructure company located in Delaware, Ohio, which is just outside of Columbus, Ohio. So part of the Midwest, and we've got a technology that we're working with that we're taking waste plastics and turning it into a polymer modified aggregate that then goes into asphalt and concrete products. So literally, you know, helping solve the plastic waste problem with one of the largest end market uses out there, and make a complete longer lasting, more sustainable, and lower total cost of ownership pavement.
Cool. Well, I know it's going to last a while because I've heard stats like plastic takes 1 billion years or 1 trillion years to deteriorate on its own or something naturally in the wild, if that's the truth. So yeah, how did you even get into this? How did this happen?
Yeah, so it started in my MBA at University of Louisville. We were looking for something to take on the competition circuit. So in our MBA, we would go through, we broke out into teams, and you had the option to compete on behalf of the university at all the different programs and business plan competitions out there. So we were looking for something that we had industry experience with, and something that was kind of, you know, cool. And you look for like the biggest, you know, sexiest markets, right?
Yeah, this industry is the biggest, sexiest market.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll explain there. So we found one through an industry partner, and one of the members of our team that had a connection to a technology that was waste plastics in hot mix asphalt. Okay. And so we went and looked at that, and to be honest, you know, we did exactly that. We looked at it, and this is 2008, and it was a cool thing, but it wasn't big and sexy enough. Yeah. And so we actually converted it back to a recycled plastic resin, and that's what we went out to competition with, that we were going to flip the formula. We're going to make a recycled plastic resin. Oil prices were high. It made sense in the market. And then we'd always bring in this nugget and say, and by the way, we can also use this to repave roads and parking lots and everything. Okay. And every now and then it would get a little bit of eye batter that you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. But it was never that big, thing that was the driving force. It was always the recycled plastic resin, until we went to Walmart. So we won Walmart's Midwest competition. And when we got to Walmart's corporate headquarters, we went and presented, and we got to that part of the presentation where we said, by the way, this can also be used in asphalt. And they're like, now that is cool. Wow. So they liked the recycled plastic resin, but they were really dug in on the asphalt. And they're like, look, here's our deal. We've got 3,000 parking lots globally that most of them we're responsible for. and tire tracks from the trucks rut out the asphalt. All the parking lots, we've all drove through Walmart, and if you drive, perpendicular to the way you park, you'll get the, the bumps, and they allow the semis to park there, and then the semis sit overnight, and you've got all the rutting and everything. So that's when it really took hold, and they're like, here's the deal. We would try this in 6 different geographic locations. If it works, we've got 3,000 stores, and this is a great sustainable material that we'd be looking at. So that's kind of where it opened our eyes.
Walmart just went for it. They're like, yeah, here, we want to try that out at these stores.
Yeah. So that's where the sexiness finally shone through, was with Walmart.
Walmart Blacktop.
Yep.
That combination is deadly. That's mind-boggling to me to think. So Walmart has a competition that they run?
They did. I don't think that they're doing it. It was a sustainability business plan competition. We ended up finishing second at that competition from all the colleges across the country. Won the Midwest, and so I've got a big picture of the then president, Doug McMillan. He's now the CEO of Walmart, handing me a $10,000 check for winning second place at the competition. So it's a great story, but we took that back to the lab and looked at it, and quite frankly, the rest of the world, still, it wasn't big and sexy enough. They weren't ready for it. They're like, okay, that's cool, but is that a thing? Do we need that?
Yeah.
And so we kind of had to go back, and I put it on the back burner. But then I spent my sales career, working for other companies that sold into that industry. So, and always kept it out there. And then finally in 2018, when the national sword effort hit, all of a sudden we got this plastic crisis, and we have to finally face our own demons with plastic waste. And now, is the perfect opportunity to look at, we don't want to make the roads a linear landfill. And that's what some of the companies in the industry, they're focused on the plastic problem first. The plastic problem is a problem, but we got to make sure the pavement's right first. So let's develop a good pavement and a good reuse of plastic waste, but we got to make a better pavement. And that's what we're focused on in the industry, is making the best pavement we can while utilizing plastic waste as a acceptable material.
So when you say plastic resin, what is it? Like, what's the consistency? What is it? From what I gather, it's going to be really fine pellets. Is that what we're talking about? It's like a crushed, like from what I've seen with companies, they reuse it in moldings and things on motors and casings of, whatever it could be, microphone or phone case or whatever. Is that what we're talking about with the resin that's going into the pavement you guys are designing?
Normal plastic resin, yeah. Normal plastic resin is a granule or a pellet, very uniform.
Yep.
That has shown in tests that it doesn't work very well as an aggregate replacement in pavement. So what you'll see is some of the competition, they started getting into the polymer modified binders. Yep. And essentially making a stronger glue, right? So melting and replacing some of the bitumen with a plastic, and now they're doing with recycled plastic, which is good, but a stiffer pavement doesn't make a better pavement, right? We want flexible pavement design. And so ours is non-uniform. It's an aggregate. So it literally is like a synthetic rock, smaller in nature. So it fits in very well with the natural rock in the asphalt mixtures. So it doesn't have that uniformity, so that you have a bunch of surface area that it can grab onto.
So so Walmart did put it in parking lots then? They used that mix design? Is that what you were telling me earlier?
Not yet. No, that was they were interested in that, and they gave us the test scenario of this is how we would work this. And so that's what, brought our attention back to, maybe there is something to this plastic asphalt. We don't have to go with the plastic resin.
Yeah. So that's an amazing story. I just can't get that out of my brain. So what about pavements now? Do you guys have pavements and test pavements? I imagine you do, that are in certain areas. Are they close to you over there in Ohio? Because we're kind of in the same climate, I guess you would say. It gets a little bit colder in Wisconsin, but it's wet. Is it porous? Water goes through it, into the sub base. Even regular pavement, it still has air voids no matter what. So there's moisture going in no matter what. You could your compaction rate could be 95, 96% compacted. You're still going to have 4% air void. So water's going in. What kind of numbers and things happens with your guys' design? I'm so curious about it as far as how it compacts. I imagine it compacts even better. A warm plastic, I would think, would compact better than a rock.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we saw. So we're on, a new formula. So right now we're still testing that formula. So we've got the original stuff that we tested up in the Northeast. Okay. And when we tested it, when we put it into pavement, we reduced rutting, cracking, and potholes by 80%. Wow. So it was really transformational. I mean, when you're looking at it from a total cost of ownership, lowering annual maintenance, lowering the pavement cycle, so you're not having to pave as often. Yeah. And so that's what,
it's not having to maintain it so often. That's what we're a maintenance company. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
I wonder about that, Steve, real quick before you get too far, because I'll forget about this. The pavement, how long has it been there? The test piece.
That stuff was laid in the late 2010s or whatever. So 2008, 2010.
You ran it the same way, out of a dump truck into a paver, a Lee Boy or something like that, and then rolled it?
Yeah, well, it was lab scale. I mean, so before you get up to the full paving scale, you have to do the lab scale stuff. So these are more small paving strips and sections, cutaways. That you do with, patching, but then still, like a walk behind compactor to get it down. So it's still there. It still, functions, but the biggest thing when you're producing stuff like this is consistent raw material. Yeah. And so now we've refined, we've gone through, we've got a consistent feedstock that is abundant. It's a proprietary mix, but it's solving a huge, hard to recycle plastic problem. And we are currently testing with the National Center for Asphalt Technology. We're one of 4 companies that they selected from around the world, 2 in the US, and that is ongoing now. We'll have results back over these next coming months. And then if it performs equal or better than the control, it's a state-funded 3-year study on the test track. Wow. So which we'll use, and we'll go out with the DOTs, but we're really looking at the private markets, those people out there that want to make a sustainable impact, that are looking at it from not just a performance, but from that sustainability aspect, willing to do some of the pilots of the material and, test alongside with us, be part of the story. Let's work on this together.
And that's amazing. All I can think is that, there's certain times where a certain change comes along with a product that's been the same for a long time, and it may be similar, but yet the performance is unbelievable. Real quick, you think about Tesla, or you just think about the telephone, and with iPhones and everything, there's always this time where an innovation kicks in and we make something better than it was before. And it sounds like, that's where you guys are at on the edge of it. All I can think is an asphalt plant taking this and running with it, an asphalt company that owns an asphalt plant, and being like, okay, let's do it. I got to imagine the cost of recycled plastic is going to be less than what they've mined for rock. Is it cost effective that way too? Or is it more for that? I mean, obviously you guys are just in the test period right now, but all I can think about is how many different companies are new companies that are going to, if this kind of thing does take off, they're going to have a lifeline for their business. The plastic company, the hauling companies, the asphalt plant themselves. I mean, it's an innovation that could cause innovation in the maintenance field too. We're going to fix it, but we got to use plastic, to fix this in and pull it in. It's insane for my brain to try to wrap around it, and to be able to have you here in front of me with all these questions I've had about it for a week. I can't even fathom how to put them all in there and put them all together. So you were talking about that you guys are looking, you were one of the 4 companies selected for this thing to hopefully get in the final stages. And you have mentioned before about the Army Corps of Engineers and things. Touch on that a little bit, because I kind of want to see, with this product that you're creating, what direction is it going right now? What stage is it in, and where is it going right now?
Sure. Yeah. So we recognize. I mean, we're a startup company, right? I mean, so it's blending between you've got to scale, but you've got to have a predictive way to de-risk the business. And taking on venture capital, we've had those offers. It's expensive. I mean, we're still answering questions, so that's the most expensive money to take, is when we're still answering questions. And we knew with the sustainability aspect that there's some quote free money out there, whether it's grants or different programs to look at this type of innovation. Yeah. However, that's a longer path to revenue and securing those. It takes a little bit of time to get through. So last year we came across, we've always been looking for an innovative patch technology that was a hybrid between, cold patch is great for convenience, not great for performance, right? We're always out there visiting it again. Hot patch is great for performance, but not really convenient. If a batch plants down, from whether it's the winter or geography, it's too far away, and makes it hard. So we actually worked with the Army Corps of Engineers, found a technology that they were using for the Air Force to repair runways for the Air Force. And so we actually went and we acquired the patents for that technology and took it through with the military. And we're working on a really cool, innovative patching solution for Air Force runways, but then also commercializing that out into the non-military market. Yeah. So that gave us a step in with the Army Corps of Engineers. Since then, we've now entered into a great partnership with them, where they are essentially doing the research and development and stuff for us. And we're coming up with things. We've got our own, engineers looking at stuff, but they have their facilities down in Vicksburg, Mississippi, are incredible. If you look at they've got the largest heavy load simulator in the world. I mean, they can simulate a
how tough is this stuff? Yeah, how tough is this stuff? Let's keep building up.
Yeah,
the heaviest load.
Yeah. So that has been transformational. We're going after some different funding mechanisms with them, and to have some of the brightest minds in civil engineering helping us. It's looking back, the 10 years. I mean, when I got some of their paperwork with, what they're going to do and help, it's kind of surreal. It's like, I never would have thought that, a competition at, a school in Kentucky at University of Louisville would lead to, being able to work with, one of the greatest civil engineering departments in the world.
Go Cardinals. Yeah. Go Cardinals, man. That's crazy, man. Man, that's just crazy to think that how your story is evolving here, and there's little things that connect it to this resource, that connect it to that resource. And when you were talking about patching at the Air Force, all I could think is us getting bags of that patch and then having whatever we need to have to make it blend in and get in there. One thing I'm curious about with it, infrared heating has just become an amazing thing for our industry, but at the same time, sometimes it can be done correctly with rejuvenator and the right rock and everything on some of these pavement surfaces. But if it's an old shattered area with a pothole, a lot of people just put cold patch in there, heat everything up, make it look nice for a little bit. But when the detriments of the weather hit it, it really, really messes that stuff up, because just the mix isn't there anymore. The oil, the bitumen, everything that's in there isn't there doing its thing. I wonder, something that has plastic resin in it and made of plastic resin, how easy that would be to heat that up and really just level that bad boy out. Like you were saying, you use a plate compactor on it and everything else. Gosh, it seems like that's going to bind to that porous asphalt a lot better than trying to mash some rock and oil back into this old stuff. Am I on the right path with thinking about it?
Are you peeking behind our curtains?
No,
we're working on that. So we've got the mantra, put plastics in your potholes. It helps. It makes them last longer. So we're working on stuff for that, for both the commercial and business B2B type things. So for the industry players that are out there as a solution, but then also for the consumer. So there's some work and stuff. Everything that we do, we make sure that we're also hitting that mantra on the environmental sustainability side.
Yeah.
So making sure that, the delivery mechanism, the heating mechanism and everything, that we're being as sustainable, because at the end of the day, I mean, we truly look at ourselves as a clean tech company. We're trying to make the world a cleaner, better place, without going, it's not a political thing or anything. It's just, it's like the Boy Scout thing. Leave the place a better place than you found it, right? So it's profit with a purpose. We're mission driven, but at the same time, those two avenues collide.
Yeah.
And I think, consumer behavior shows that, sustainability is not a trend. It's something that everybody's thinking about of, hey, can I do this a little bit better?
Yeah.
I mean, we look at the waste sector. Getting to zero waste is a very hard thing, but how do we move the needle closer to that?
Yeah.
And that's the same way we look at all of our products.
Yeah. And you see that in our industry more and more. You see it with coal tar being banned. Before that,
Right.
oil-based sealer was being banned. And I think you realize at some point the trade-off isn't worth it. Let's just do this every couple of years or 3 years affordably and make it look nice and protect it in this way versus trying to pump oil back onto it or back into the ground or whatever. And here, I was jokingly saying save the turtles because we're using plastic in your guys' stuff, but it's not that mantra, save the turtles. Everyone else was saying my kids still say that, save the turtles. And it's like, yeah, but it is sticking. That is on people's brains, and it is sticking.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's a neat thing, I would imagine, to be in your guys' seat where you're killing two birds with one stone. You're making a better product that is also eco-friendly and really helping out the environment, especially with plastic. Dude, I drive by landfills all the time and just see plastic bags flying in the wind. And it's like, man, this is all going to go somewhere at some point. It's not going to go away. There's an effect of it. Well, when you think about a pavement, gosh, there's a lot of pavement, man. There's a lot. Yeah. And now we can crush it, and reuse it, which is great, but it's still here too. So, man, if we could replace what's existing with something like this product, God, the opportunities are just unbelievable when I think about the different businesses and different technologies that would come from this kind of pavement and this kind of innovation in our industry. And this is an industry where innovation really was stagnant for a very long time. Paving in itself, has been the same. I have pictures around here somewhere where it's just guys with rocks spraying oil down and they got an old hand roller on it, pushing it. It's pretty much been the same idea with a few little tweaks here and there of how we apply it and how we do it. But God, the consistency of it being a completely different material makes you handle it in a completely different way too. So your guys' innovation also leads to other people's innovation, which leads to other people's innovation. So it's very cool when you think about the future of it and what it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, big problems take big solutions. And, this area is definitely, provides those end markets that we need to help solve the plastic waste problem. But it does, we're putting that pavement first, right? Let's make sure we're producing good quality, sustainable, longer lasting roads.
Cool.
And you here in the States, we're only one thing. I mean, you go to some of the island communities that are, literally swallowed by plastic waste problems, and might not have an asphalt plant on their. They literally have to ship in aggregate, ship in paving equipment to get stuff done. And so there's solutions there that go way beyond just the confines of the States here. So
that's crazy, man, to even think about that aspect of it. There's so many facets and so many tangents that there's no way you could think about all the things you could do and make this product, and then not only make it, but then apply it and maintain it, and the businesses that are going to benefit from it. It's crazy, Steve. It's unbelievable. My brain can't even think about it. And there's so many questions that I have. I can't imagine the listeners, they're going to have questions on their own. We're going to have you back, and you'll have to update us. What's coming up timeline wise that it's going to be like telltale things for you guys? You don't have to say exactly what it is, but just a timeline where you're like, hey, in 5 months, we're going to know this one way or the other, or we expect this, because then I'll have you guys back on. And
so I mean, you look at the industry where it's at, how many different mix designs are there for different circumstances? north versus south, limestone up here, dolomite down south, as the primary. So there is no one-all solution, that's going to be like, hey, here's universal pavement design.
Absolutely.
So we need a launch product. We're doing that. We're testing it with, we think we've got a really solid core product here, and reuse of plastic waste. We'll get those lab testing results back from, I think NCAT's probably one of the most respected testing facilities in the world for asphalt. We'll get that back. And then, we're going to be doing some heavy research with the Army Corps. While we're doing that, so that's continued innovation and R&D. So I foresee us, over the next couple years, we'll have, different mix designs, different solutions based on use cases, which is what the industry should have. What you use on a parking lot isn't what you're going to use on a DOT highway, and vice versa. So we'll be doing that, and then we'll be doing some low-hanging fruit pilot test projects with different corporations and different large property owners that are wanting to test an innovative solution. Walmart's one of them. I mean, Walmart paves a parking lot isn't newsworthy. Walmart paves a parking lot with recycled plastic waste. That's newsworthy. Walmart paves a parking lot with recycled plastic waste from a company that they helped get their start way back when and through a business plan competition. That's the home run.
Yeah.
So hopefully, Walmart's listening. We'll be contacting them here again soon.
I got connections. I don't know if I got those connections, but I got some connections. Can you send me? Do you guys have pucks of it, like made and pressed? Do you have sample pieces? Can you get me one? I would love to have one and put it on our social, Steve, just so.
We can probably. I don't have them back yet.
I'll bury it after you send it. I'll take a picture of it. I'll bury it. I promise. I won't send it to anybody or anything anywhere. But God, I just want to see it and feel it. And maybe what we'll end up doing is I'll come there and you can show me a piece or something somewhere.
Yeah. We can make it happen for sure.
Dude, it's just crazy innovation. I love innovation. One of our sponsors is Rhino Works, and they make an internal burner melting pot for crack filler. And before, as long as I can remember, you stuck a blowtorch in a crack filler, and then all of a sudden here they're having digital readouts, everything. They're trying to innovate. Granted, some they make adjustments as they go, but at the same time they're trying to do it better while creating a product, while creating income and starting this. They're a great company, great innovative company. That's what I love, is the innovation part of it, because gosh, you guys are on the edge of something, and it's just like, man, we want it to be so bad. And it's very cool to see. Very, very cool to see. Tell me about your team real quick. I want to know, just about your team. How many people are there at you guys at Nico and everything?
Yeah. So we're a small, startup team. We're headquartered right now out of the Entrepreneurship Center, the Delaware Entrepreneurship Center,
Very cool.
At Ohio Wesleyan University. So we've got 6,000 square feet. That's kind of like all shared with other people, and then we've got our office inside here. So we've got 2 on the engineering team, and then what I think ERDEC, the Army Corps, has 2,000.
Yeah,
but there's probably five main engineers down there that are going to be working with us.
Cool.
And then we've got myself, a business operations, and then we've got a Ohio Wesleyan intern as our operations management specialist. So we're lean and mean, and we've been able to build and get where we are by working with partners. So we've done, our network is very good with collaborations. We've got an amazing advisory board that has been through startups. So we've got about 6 members over on the advisory board that are just, critical to our success. Those voices in our ears. I made decisions last night, that I completely changed the course of where we were looking just based on their feedback of their experiences of business over the last, 3 decades. So, it does take a village. I mean, we're a small core team, but we'll grow. We'll probably add about 10 team members over this next year at least. It just depends on, we're looking at a couple of different funding mechanisms. We've turned down the venture capital to this point. Because there really is, there's a lot of non-dilutive capital out there when you're working in this space. Yeah. And we've been blessed to find the connections into the U.S. military, which has its own ways of, they're kind of our beta customers. And so when like the patch material, if somebody in the business world is going to, ask about the durability of the patch material, say, well, we landed fighter jets on it and it held up with, 1,000 passes of an F-15.
Yeah.
Do you have something better than that, that you're worried about?
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of stresses are you really going to put it under? I'm sure it's not out under your Toro snowblower. It'll be fine.
Right.
Very cool, man. Dude, I'm so excited for you guys, and especially to follow this story now. Where can people follow your company?
Yeah. So we're out there in Nicotech. So the website is Nicotech USA. So it's NECOTECHUSA.com.
Cool.
They can email us at consult@NicotechUSA to get in touch. And then pretty much the Nicotech USA or Nicotech on all the social media. We're out there. We're built. We've kept a lot of stuff back. This is actually kind of our first social coming out and sharing the messages there.
A lot of firsts this year on Blacktop Banter. I love it.
Yeah. So we'll be out there now. People, we feel that the story's there to be told, and we want people to be part of the journey. I mean, we want feedback. I mean, the best things get built by having feedback, whether that's from industry, whether that's from customers, whether that's from, people out there. We've got certain parameters that we have to hit, but really, I mean, we're just trying to make an impact in our own small way on both the plastic waste problem and the infrastructure.
Unbelievable, man. I love it. All right, real quick, before we get going, we're going to do something fun. All right. So I'm trying to remember to do these all the time. I haven't remembered all the time, but it's just completely random. I'm not going to look. We're going to pick one out. It's going to be a fun question.
All right. I'm ready.
We already did. I'm going to toss it because there's a pile of cards here. That fact that I could pull that out would be unbelievable. All right. This is great. This is a good one. All right. If you were reincarnated as a famous landmark, Steve, which would it be?
Famous landmark.
Yep. If you were a famous landmark, if you were reincarnated as one, what would it be?
Yeah. I'd probably have to say the Lincoln Memorial because I've got a great seat and a great view of the greatest country in the world, staring right down the lane mile. And I can just put those buzz eyes on Congress and just make sure that they're holding tight and staying honest.
Doing what they need to do, man. That's for sure. Well, one thing, you have a stone face. That's for sure.
That's right.
A poker face.
Honest Abe.
Honest Abe's got a poker face for the ages. Very cool, man. I'm super glad to have you guys on, Steve. So stay in touch with me, which I'm sure we will now. I'm going to get Nico.
Clubhouse every Thursdays at 7 p.m. I'll be there.
That's right, man. Very cool. So we'll stay in touch. I want to be able to speak as much as you can as time goes on, every 6 months or whenever, and just let us know where this is at because, we've had innovations in equipment and stuff before, but the actual material reuse hasn't been innovated in a while. And I'm always for innovation. It's just very neat. All right. That's it, man. Blacktop Banter. It's getting crazy out here. We're getting crazy guests with, famous guests, and then we're getting very interesting guests, and then I'm still getting my boys, the guys that pave and put this stuff down and take care of this pavement. And then we're getting people from landscape and lawn care industry. It's getting wild out here, but this is the kind of fun we're having. This is the kind of world that still exists, even though we're still in a pandemic, apparently, and all this stuff's going on. There's still people out here doing things, innovating, making things happen. All right, Blacktop Banter. This is going to be it. Episode 46. We're done. For myself and Steve, I want you to seal it, stripe it, pave it, and kill it. Peace.